All right, Larry Dignan. There are technologies we will rely on in 2019, and there are technologies we will get sick of hearing about real quick in 2019. Let's start with 5G. Why is it awesome, and why are we already sick of it?
We're sick of it because it's all we talked about in 2018, and it hasn't even happened yet. So what we're probably going to find in 2019 is 5G marketing overload. You're going to hear everything from Verizon, from T-Mobile. Everybody's going to be pitching 5G services. The problem is the devices aren't here yet. They'll be rolling out in 2019, which will get us to talk even more about it. And then whenever you roll out these new devices, you always have battery life hits. There's going to be a moment where you're like, wow, this is not what it's cracked up to be. And that's a natural tech progression, but we'll still keep talking about 5G as it applies to business, consumers. There are things like the Internet of Things, edge computing. It enables a lot of stuff. The problem is it enables a lot of stuff in like 2020 and 2021, not necessarily 2019. So by that point, we'll be truly sick of it. I'm already kind of there.
You and me both. 5G will enable a ton of cool stuff. It's faster, better throughput, but it's also kind of marketing that reminds me of, you remember when iOS updated and suddenly your phone said 4G on it?
Right.
Like, wait, this hardware is suddenly 4G capable. What in 5G is marketing and what in 5G is real hard tech?
Well, I think the marketing part is going to be trying to keep your customers. I mean, that's a carrier-driven thing, right? I think it's going to be good for handsets. Like, it's going to be good for somebody like Samsung. I expect them to market this a lot because it gives Apple's typically slow with making that jump. So Samsung will probably be out there first. The Android crowd of smartphones will be out there first with 5G. So I expect them to drive a lot of the marketing. The tech reality is the standards aren't even baked yet, right? So Verizon, they were out first with their 5G into the home, but all that's proprietary. That's something they cooked up in their labs, and they're going to swap over to more standards in the future. But until those standards come, there's a lot of herding the cats going on. And the other thing we haven't seen is, as consumers and businesses, we haven't seen the plans yet. Are prices going up? Is 5G really going to cost me a lot more? Is it going to cost the same? Are they just going to charge me by data? Is it going to be capped? I don't know. And then there's also the other 5G thing is that it doesn't carry as far as antenna-wise goes. So we're going to have to drop a whole lot of antennas, a whole lot of places, and the whole "not in my backyard" thing is going to take root. And it's not going to be this revolution that's going to happen overnight.
I'll get ready for 5G NIMBYs. All right, artificial intelligence. I don't even know what AI means, and I cover AI. Are we talking about machine learning? Are we talking about automation? What will AI mean in 2019, and why are we sick of it?
Well, the weird part is it's just starting to happen where the average bear, the average consumer, the average citizen is starting to worry about AI. And the punchline is it's already been here, right? Machine learning is like facial recognition technology. It's kind of everywhere already, right? You already have a lot of stuff out there already. Your credit report, your credit score, that's really machine learning. That's an algorithm figuring out what your credit worthiness is, right? So there's a bunch of things that are already out there under the guise of either machine learning or whatever. And I think what has people freaked out is just that, that they take that next leap to where, then you become HAL or become Terminator or become whatever. And I think 2019 is going to be, 2018 was the year where a lot of this stuff was rolled out a good bit. Like there won't be a company who doesn't have a bunch of algorithms running around because it'll be embedded in everything. Like I think the last stat I saw was 80% of all applications in just like a year or two are going to have AI. So it's already out there. I think why we're going to be sick of hearing about it is because you're going to have the average bear talking about it. Like when your grandmom starts worrying about AI, then you're going to be tired of hearing about it. So it's just going to snowball to probably this cultural phenomenon, and there'll probably be a movie about it. It'll just never end, right? So it's going to be AI overload.
And the Netflix recommendations will still be terrible.
Right.
All right. digital transformation, another trend that is real when we talk to business. Yes, every business is becoming digital in one way or another, but the euphemisms and buzzwords when it comes to digital transformation are crazy. So are we sick of this already, or will the progression continue?
I think my guess is that you'll hear more about it in 2019, and then they'll probably come around to thinking, all right, let's just rename this thing. Because it's really an umbrella term that really doesn't mean a whole lot. What it means is your company's digitizing, automating. Like if you're a company like GE, you're selling turbine engines, the data for those engines is way more important than the actual engine itself. That sort of sums up digital transformation in a nutshell. And every company is talking about it. And the other weird part about that is they're going to keep talking about it, thinking that at some point they're going to have this eureka moment where they're like, we transform our business, we're digital, and it's never going to end, right? So it's an ongoing thing. And my guess is it'll have to get some new name because it's going to lose that. I mean, it barely has a definition now. It's really going to lose it in 2019.
Yeah, and being in the cloud really isn't innovative at this point.
Right.
Okay, last one, the best one, blockchain. We were sick of blockchain in 2017, definitely sick of it in 2018. What is the future of blockchain technology, like the application of blockchain tech in 2019?
Yeah, well, 2018, this just started ramping up, and IBM's a big proponent of this blockchain thing. And so they've formed deals with Maersk, the shipping company. They've done some healthcare things. They've tried to put blockchain in damn near everything. And as a result, you're seeing cloud providers do blockchain as a service. And those projects, which are really pilots, will start being talked about a lot more in 2019. And we'll hear a lot more about it to the point where you'll be sick of it. And the punchline here is the reason you'll be sick of it is because you're going to hear nothing but Bitcoin sob stories all through 2019, right? I mean, Bitcoin peaked at like 20K to the dollar. Now it's below 5,000.
Those tears are flowing already.
It's going to zero. So all those fools on those big yachts at those conferences, it's all going to be like the .com bust, right? Like, back in 2000, everybody was sick of .coms because everybody was tired of hearing about them go out of business. You got sick of hearing about how great it was, and then you got sick of hearing about going bankrupt. And blockchain is going to be very similar. So while the application of blockchain is one thing, I think the cryptocurrency and the Bitcoin thing is just going to reach saturation mode. And you'll again, if your grandmom starts talking about Bitcoin or blockchain, just duck.
All right, so sell the crypto kitties now is what you're saying.
Well, maybe too late. You must just write it down to zero at this point.
Last one, and this is maybe not a technology, but is an expression of a technology, and that is device addiction, right? Apple released screen time this past fall with iOS, the new iOS update. And it feels like this is a building buzzword that we'll all be sick of a year from now. So is device addiction a real thing, or is this Apple's way of kind of hedging against a future bad story?
Oh, it's a real thing. And I think the issue we'll get to in 2019 is you will hear so much about it. I think 2018 was where Google, Apple, even Facebook to some degree, they basically set it up to cover their butts. 2019 is where you'll start hearing about it a lot more. Like, I wouldn't be surprised in 2019 you start seeing more smartphone addiction rehabs, right? They have these in Korea for video games. Like, you can sort of see where this goes. Will it reach, alcoholism and opioid crisis and all that? Maybe not. But I think it's an issue that's going to get more and more talk. More screen time, if you will, because I think the data is pointing to it, the research is pointing to it, and all you got to do is, walk down the streets anywhere, and you're going to run into somebody looking at their phone and not paying attention to where they're going.